Hi everyone, this is Amy with Campbell Creations, and today I'm going to be making a wrapped loop for the focal for this necklace for Bargain Bead box. I love the pendant that I received, this Amazonite pendant from Bargain Bead box June. Beautiful. I'm going to do a wire wrap, and I want to put this patina shell on the front of it. I thought that would look really good. And so I'm just going to go through here with some 22 gauge wire. I'm going to find about the center point here. And I'm just going to fold it. I want it to get it really close here, so I'm going to kind of crisscross them, just so that they're a little closer to each other. I'm going to go ahead and slide on my charm. I thought this patina with the Amazonite looked really cool together. And at this point, I'm going to just, as if I'm making a regular wrapped loop with two of these, I'm going to twist these together just that they stay together really well, and it'll make for a really cool looking wrap. So I'm just twisting these, and I'm going to go ahead and twist all the way up, even if I may not be using some of this top portion. And I'm just being really easy with my twists so that they stay pretty uniform. Because as you get to the top, it gets a little bit harder. All right, so I'm going to straighten this up, and you see I have a little bit of a difference right here, but the rest is pretty similar. Make sure that this will dangle, but I don't want it flopping around on there because this is a heavy little charm. So now we will make a wrapped loop, and I want this loop to face up because I want to be able to put this directly on the chain. So I'm just going to hold on to the top here, go back, rotate, come up and over, rotate again so that it's out of the way. Let's make sure our charm's out of the way as well. And we're just going to go right around, straighten ourselves up. We should have that little loop. You see how it looks kind of gnarled, but also just beautiful. So now I'm going to hold on to this loop, and I'm just going to wrap. One more will come around that back. That looks cool. Just cut this off. Make sure it's in the back. And I want to tuck that on the underneath if I can get it there. It's always the goal is to go a little bit under. So we'll hold on to that really good. And I also want to make sure I'm going in the direction that it would have wrapped anyways. See how it just pops right underneath there? And by squeezing it a little bit, I'm giving it that little bit of work hardening and taking off any rough edges that would have otherwise been there. You see how it almost disappears into our wrap. That's the goal anyways. So there's our wrap. So we'll leave him there. And now we'll bring in the rest. So we'll use the Mapponite 8mm rounds. I have some little coconut heishi beads I wanted to use with some of these clay disc beads. And I was going to use the white lava stones, but this was just calling to me. The color of Amazonite pendant that I received I am so happy about, but these go so well with it. I just had to go there. I am going to be using the patinaed spacers. I have some antique bronze bead caps, and then we're going to probably pull in some chain. I have the chain from the box, and I love their textured chain. I love it so much. I have already cut 2 pieces that are the same length, so I've already have these ready. But the way I do it, whenever I am, let's see here, the way I measure to make sure I'm getting 2 sides the same is I come up through the top and back over through the other, and then as this dangles down, I know which odd number to cut out to make my 2 links. Thank you, Joey's Jewelry. I had also seen that from Wendy, but really started using it after Joey. So we're going to set these aside and let's get a necklace going. Now today I'll be using the Beadsmith Flexrite 21. I really like this. It has so much bend and flexibility to it. And we will need a couple crimp tubes. So let's go with, I think the closest I'm going to get is the copper. And that's fine. Copper goes really well with patina. Usually I get 1 or 3 when I tap them out. Right, and for our wire, I'm wanting about 12 inches. I am eyeballing. I'm either really good about eyeballing or really bad about eyeballing. It depends on what the result is. Hopefully today we can say that I'm good at eyeballing. Get that out of the way here. So whenever I put on a pendant, especially one with a chunky wrap like this, we're going to go ahead and put this on here. I like to do a couple seed beads. Now, whether they're 11-0 or not, just something to be on either side that's not too big. So I have 2 of these and they are copper colored. Just so there's something with that wrap to cover up any gap, right? So I think the way I want to go with this is I'm going to start with my little disc beads here. Oh, look, I have a couple extra jump rings. All right, so we're going to do some disc beads with some coconut beads in the center, and then we'll flank them with the spacers and the maphenite. So we'll do 1 disc. Oops. We'll do 1 of the coconut beads and another disc. Same thing over here. I loved this month's bargain bead box. Every month I keep saying, man, they've outdone themselves again, and keep that up. Let's bring out our spacers. So we'll do a patina spacer on either side of that. And I think I want to go ahead and do another layer of these. I made a bracelet earlier, and I'll most likely have it posted before this video, but this is how I had done the pattern. I really liked this pattern here. And I've had these coconut heishi beads for quite some time, and as much as I love the beachy vibe, I can't believe I hadn't used them. And so they worked so well with the browns that's in this Amazonite pendant. I decided on these instead of the white lavas. I just couldn't help myself. Yeah, I like that. Now let's go ahead, let's bring our bead caps out. Let's do some of this naphthenite. Let's do 3. I really like 3s. Let's bring these out. Sorry, that was a little louder than I expected it to be. So yeah, let's do 3 of these. And I really like the bead caps back to back. They become way more than just a bead cap at that point, I think. I think my pendant and the little turtles were my favorite things in the box this month. I always have a couple favorites. Sometimes it's harder than other times to pick those favorites, but I believe that's what they are. What was your favorites from this month? And what did you think about the difference here in our metals? So, you know, we're used to with Bargain Bead Box, good quality, silver, gold, antique bronze, copper. This is the first that I remember of patina, but boy, really nice. Nice little change up. So yeah, we'll do 3 of these. And I incorporate a lot of chain with my jewelry. It allows me, when I am selling it, to keep that cost down. And I love beads, and sometimes I hoard beads, and it's really tough for me, as much as I want to use them, to actually use them. So I use fewer beads. I incorporate chain. It helps with the price for, actually I think, do I want, yeah, we'll do that. Helps with the price for who's purchasing my jewelry. They get good quality gemstones, check glass, crystals, good quality findings, but it allows that price point to be lower and allows me to save my beads. Win-win if you ask me. And I see some that use chain sometimes, but primarily will, you know, bead all the way up. And I think maybe first it comes from their preference of their designing and their crafting and what they see and envision, because that's what's happening, right? We're seeing and envisioning these things and bringing them to life. And oh my goodness, isn't that just so amazing? I started beading first because I had some jewelry from my grandmother's and from my aunt that were real reminders to me of them. And I wanted to be able to wear it, but not my style. So I watched some YouTube videos and went to Hobby Lobby and Joann's, and I took them apart and made some jewelry that I loved. And then I realized I loved the process of it. I loved the findings and the gemstones and the glass. And so that's where she started, but there's no end to it now. So I'm thinking I want to be done here. I really like this layout. It's not too much. I don't think it's too little. That patina is really being pulled in. So I think at this point, I'm going to go ahead and close her up and move on to the next. So let's get out my wire guardians. Let's move some things out of our way. All right, so let's put our crump tube on. And our wire guardian will go right through there. Try not to spill our beads on the other side. Around, down on the other side. Let's bring her up some. I like to give it a pinch just to close that up. Let's bring our crimp tube up. Oh my. Yes, let's bring our crimp tube up. And I'm going to use my magical crimper for this because it's easy. It makes things pretty. I'm going to give a little bit of space. I love the magical crimper. So I'm going to put it in here. I'm going to pull that, make sure that wire's all the way down in that channel. I'm going to give it a good squeeze. See how it looks kind of like a ravioli? I'm going to turn it 90 degrees, get it in that wedge, give it a good squeeze again. Then at this point, I'm just going to go around, give little squeezes until it's not giving me any more resistance. And at that point, and not pinch your finger. And then at that point, you know that you have a bead. So let's bring a section of these down. There's little holes on those. Cut off our tail. Slide all of this down, and we'll do this other side. Tube, wire guardian, that one side, flip it down on the other. Through our crimp tube and a few of those beads. Now sometimes I don't go through beads. These seemed pretty easy to do that. Bring it down. Usually just oil it up a little bit, or if it's a little bit smaller, I put it in my palm, just like I do for a bracelet. And you see how that wants to pop out? Not a problem. We first want to get this placed. So I want to get on this crimp tube, lift my wire guardian so that it's out of the way, make sure I'm not crimping onto any beads, and then before I actually crimp, squeeze, I make sure that that's in the channel. See, it's still up there just a tad bit. I think we'll be okay though. So I gave it a good squeeze. I'm gonna go 90 degrees, give it another good squeeze. I'm just gonna go around a little. And hopefully not get my wire guardian. There we go. Sorry, my tools are being loud today. They didn't get the memo that we're recording. All right. So here is the primary necklace. I like that. And I did get out a couple different kinds of jump rings. So I got out some oval jump rings, really like those. And then I got out some regular but thicker jump rings. I'm going to use the thicker ones for the direct connections here, and then I will use the oval ones for the closures. I did pre-open these. Okay, from one side. There. dropping stuff too. All right. Let's just close her up. Make sure I feel and hear that click. Looks nice. Go for that other side. There she goes. What is your preference? Do you have a preference as far as using chain and how much chain to use? Or does it depend on the design? I know some are like, depends on the design, ends up being about 50-50. Well, mine ends up being about 80-20. And I think it's because I've been so used to doing it this way. It was so easy when I began. It's what I like. I think it's pretty. And it allows me to sell it at a really good price or a better price. That sometimes I feel like a win-win. Especially because I always want to do a necklace and I want to do a bracelet. And so often I want to do multi-strand bracelet, which is kind of my favorite. So it helps with the beads, and for the beads that I can't seem to let go of, it helps me retain more of them. There should be some sort of therapy for bead hoarding. As my husband says, I am a jewelry maker. However, I am first and foremost a bead lover and a bead person. And I am. All right, so let's close this up. Let's take a peek. I think it's beautiful. I love it. Well, thank you so much for being here with me. Thank you for watching this. Thank you for any of your comments. I would love to see comments with questions, with answers to things that I had asked you. Please do like this video. If you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe to my channel. It costs you nothing. It is completely free and it really supports my channel. If you don't want to miss any of my uploads, click the little bell to subscribe and you'll be notified for any of the videos that I do. I appreciate you being here with me again today, and until next time, bye.